The skies above Earth burned crimson as the alien armada descended like a swarm of merciless locusts. Cities crumbled beneath the devastating energy blasts, and entire fleets vanished in seconds, swallowed by the enemy's overwhelming firepower. Humanity's golden age of exploration and progress was ending in a blaze of ruin. Amid the chaos, the Ardent Valor, the last surviving starship of the United Earth Fleet, roared through the black void. Its hull scared and battered, the ship carried the final vestiges of humanity. Scientists clutching desperate research, soldiers hardened by years of war, and civilians clinging to hope. Captain Elara Miles stood on the bridge, her eyes fixed on the blinking red alerts. "This isn't just an invasion," she said quietly, voice heavy with the weight of loss. "It's an extermination." The alien force, known only as the Xylar Collective, had crushed every planetary defense in its path. Earth's fall was inevitable. But the Ardent Valor wasn't just fleeing. It was carrying humanity's last chance. Engineering reports critical damage to the aft shield generators. Commander Rin warned, "We won't hold much longer if they catch up." Ilara's jaw tightened. They were fast, but the Xylar's relentless pursuers had ships faster still. If they slowed, it would mean death. Yet somewhere out there, she knew, were pockets of resistance, scattered colonies, isolated allies, waiting for a signal, a spark to ignite hope. "Send out the distress beacon. Broadcast on all frequencies," Elara ordered. "We're alive. We're coming." Below decks, a young communications officer named Jace whispered a prayer. He was barely out of his teens, but the loss of Earth burned in him like a scar. His fingers flew over the console, transmitting the beacon into the vast unknown. Suddenly, the ship shook violently. Alarms blared. Explosions rocked the Ardent Valor's corridors. The Xylar had found them. "Shields holding at 40%, reported Lieutenant Kara, gripping the console. "Hull breaches detected in Sector 7. Elara gritted her teeth. "Battle stations, we're not going down quietly." In the chaos, memories flashed. A childhood in the blue fields of Earth, the laughter of family long lost, the promise humanity made to the stars. This was more than survival. This was defiance. As the alien ships closed in, the Ardent Valor surged forward, weaving through the asteroid belt near the shattered remains of a forgotten moon. Laser fire stitched the void. Explosions blossomed like deadly fireworks. The crew fought with desperation and grit, each action driven by the knowledge that they carried the galaxy's first hope, a hope born from humanity's unbreakable will to live and fight. Through the smoky haze of battle, Elara saw something unexpected. A glimmer of a distant signal, faint but unmistakable. Other survivors, others like them. "Hold steady," she said, voice fierce. "We're not alone. Humanity lives." The Ardent Valor plunged deeper into the black, the last light of Earth fading behind them, but a new dawn waiting just beyond the stars. The Ardent Valor cruised silently through the dim corridors of uncharted space, far beyond known star maps. The crew's exhaustion was a heavy weight, but the glimmer of hope from the distant signal kept their spirits flickering. Captain Elara Miles studied the approaching coordinates, a cluster of unknown vessels cloaked in stealth. Unknown origin, her science officer, Dr. Lyon Torres, reported with a mix of awe and caution. Energy signatures unlike anything recorded. Advanced technology, but ancient. Elara narrowed her eyes. "Prepare communications. Let's see if they're friend or foe." Moments later, a holographic form flickered into existence on the bridge. Tall, slender, with iridescent skin that shimmered beneath translucent robes. The alien introduced themselves as Sithra, a representative of the Vreath, a reclusive species that had shunned galactic affairs for millennia. "We have watched the galaxy fall into chaos." Sithra's voice was calm, almost ethereal. "Humans, you are persistent, but fragile. Why should we trust you?" Elara met the alien's gaze steadily. "Because we're all that stands against the Xylar Collective. If we fall, none of us will survive. This isn't just about humanity. It's about the future of every race in the galaxy. The Wraith remained silent for a long moment, the weight of their own ancient scars palpable in the stillness. Then, with a subtle nod, Cythera spoke again. "Very well. We will aid you, but know this. Trust is earned, not given. Show us why your kind deserves a place among the stars." The alliance was tentative, fraught with old prejudices and mistrust. The Wraith technology was unlike anything the Ardent Valor's engineers had seen. Ships that moved through dimensions, weapons powered by thought, and shields that bent light itself. Yet, more impressive than their tech was their understanding of the Xylar Collective. "They once threatened our homeworld centuries ago," Cythera explained. "We fled to the shadows and survived. But now, their appetite grows again. We cannot win alone." Working side by side, humans and Wraith began to forge strategies, melding human creativity and relentless spirit with Wraith's vast knowledge and technology. In the ship's labs, Dr. Torres marveled at the alien data, uncovering ancient tactics and weaponry that could turn the tide. But even within this fragile alliance, tension simmered. Some Wraith officers doubted humans' capacity to lead. Some human soldiers resented taking orders from alien hands. The Ardent Valor's crew, battered and wary, struggled to find unity in this diverse family forged in crisis. One night, as the ship orbited a dying star, Ilara stood alone on the observation deck, watching swirling cosmic storms. Cythera approached quietly. "Captain," the alien said softly, "your people have a fire I have not seen in millennia. It is reckless and brilliant. Perhaps that fire is the key." Ilara nodded. "We don't have time for perfection. We just have to be fierce enough." Suddenly, the ship trembled. The ominous rumble of a distant Xylar fleet, their death sentence, closing in. But this time, the Ardent Valor was not running blindly into the void. With allies behind them and a plan forming, humanity's last ship held the galaxy's first hope, not just for survival, but for victory. The Ardent Valor drifted silently near the edge of a dead star system, its crew tense but hopeful. Sensors had detected a derelict space station, ancient beyond comprehension, orbiting a shattered moon. The station was a relic from a forgotten era, its origins buried in mystery. "Captain, the station is massive," Dr. Torres reported, eyes glued to her display. "It's like a fortress lost in time." Ilara studied the readings. The station pulsed faintly with energy, a heartbeat in the void. "This could be the edge we need. Send a boarding party. Find out what secrets it holds." The team suited up and boarded the station through a corroded airlock. Inside, they found ruins of alien technology, unlike any cataloged in human or Wraith archives. Flickering consoles hummed with residual power, and walls etched with strange symbols hinted at an advanced civilization that had long vanished. In the station's core, they discovered a weapon, colossal in scale, designed to control the fabric of space itself. It was a relic built to enforce peace across the galaxy by disrupting hostile fleets, an ancient safeguard against total war. "This could be the weapon that turns the tide," Dr. Torres whispered, awestruck. "But it requires a unique genetic code to activate it, something only humans have." Ilara felt the weight of destiny settle over her shoulders. "Then it's on us. We carry humanity's future not just in our hands, but in our very blood." Back on the Ardent Valor, the crew debated fiercely. Some feared the weapon's destructive potential, worrying that wielding such power could make them monsters rather than saviors. Others saw it as their only hope against the overwhelming Xylar forces. Lieutenant Kara voiced the conflict. "Using this could save us, or it could doom us all. We risk becoming what we fight." Ilara listened, understanding the fear. Power isn't inherently evil. It's how we use it that defines us. Meanwhile, sabotage struck the ship's systems, small but deliberate. Security traced the interference back to a hidden faction within the crew, those who doubted humanity's right to such power or feared the consequences. Ilara confronted them in the dim glow of the engineering bay. "We're not perfect," she said, "but if we don't fight with every weapon we have, the Xylar will erase everything." The faction leader, a once trusted officer, sneered. "And if your weapon destroys us all, what then? Will your hope be a galaxy of ashes?" Before the argument could escalate, alarms blared. The Xylar fleet had detected the Ardent Valor's presence near the station and was closing in fast. "Prepare for combat," Ilara commanded. "This weapon's secrets won't be lost to the void today." As the ship powered up ancient defenses and readied its crew, a new resolve settled. The weapon might be humanity's gamble, risky, uncertain, but it was their chance to shift the balance. In the cold emptiness of space, the Ardent Valor prepared to stand not just for survival, but for the future of every star system waiting to be free. The cold expanse of space turned into a battlefield as the Ardent Valor edged closer to the shattered moon, the ancient weapon pulsing faintly in its core. Captain Ilara Miles stood firm on the bridge, her eyes sharp with determination as the Xylar Armada loomed ahead like a dark storm. Enemy fleet, estimated at 70 vessels. They'd brought reinforcements, Commander Rin reported grimly. "We're outnumbered nearly 10-1. Ilara's jaw clenched. "Then we fight smarter, not harder." The Ardent Valor and its newfound Wraith allies had one advantage: knowledge. Years of observing the Xylar's ruthless tactics had revealed subtle weaknesses in their formations and their blind faith in overwhelming force. Lieutenant Kara's fingers danced over the tactical console. "We'll use the asteroid field to mask our approach, disrupt their sensors." The Ardent Valor dove into the chaotic debris, weaving through jagged rocks and twisted metal. The Xylar ships followed, slower and less maneuverable than the cluttered field. Suddenly, the ancient weapon activated, a ripple in space that sent shockwaves, temporarily disabling the enemy's sensor arrays and communication links. The Armada faltered. "Now," Ilara commanded. Human and Wraith pilots sprang into action, launching precision strikes on vulnerable ships. Laser beams sliced through void, explosions blooming like deadly flowers against the black backdrop. Despite the odds, the combined fleet fought with unyielding ferocity. Human unpredictability clashed with Wraith's ancient technology, creating a deadly synergy. Still, the cost was high. The Ardent Valor shuddered from impacts, shields flickering under concentrated fire. Crew members moved with practiced urgency, patching breaches and returning fire. In the chaos, a small boarding party from the Xylar attempted to infiltrate the ship, aiming to sabotage the ancient weapon. Ilara led the defense personally, her voice steady as she coordinated counterattacks. "Hold the line. This ship is our last hope." As laser fire lit the corridors, human soldiers and Wraith warriors fought side by side, blending their tactics. The boarding party was repelled, but the warning was clear: the enemy would stop at nothing. Amid the fight, a transmission crackled through the Ardent Valor's comm system, a signal from scattered resistance cells across the galaxy, inspired by humanity's courage. "We're not alone," Ilara said, voice resolute. "This battle has lit a fire. Others are rising." The Xylar fleet began to retreat, damaged and disoriented. Though battered, the Ardent Valor and its allies held their ground. As the dust settled, the crews surveyed the aftermath. Fallen comrades, shattered ships, but a future suddenly within reach. In the captain's quarters, Ilara allowed herself a rare moment of reflection. "We've shown them what it means to fight," she whispered. "But this is only the beginning." The galaxy was awakening, stirred by humanity's defiance. The Ardent Valor was no longer just a ship fleeing extinction. It was a beacon, rallying the scattered sparks of resistance into a blazing hope. The victory at the edge of the galaxy had breathed new life into the Ardent Valor and its crew. But beneath the surface, a darker threat stirred. The taste of hope was bittersweet, tainted by distrust and fear. Captain Ilara Miles stood on the bridge, scanning reports from engineering. Systems were fluctuating, minor at first, but steadily worsening. Then the sabotage was discovered. Critical weapon systems tampered with, shield modulators were routed, and encrypted data files deleted. "Someone on board is working against us," Ilara announced grimly to the assembled senior officers. "This isn't just carelessness, it's deliberate." Whispers spread through the corridors like wildfire. The crew looked at one another with suspicion, trust eroding like ash in wind. Lieutenant Kara spearheaded the investigation, following digital footprints through the ship's systems. The trail led to an unlikely suspect. Commander Voss, Ilara's trusted second-in-command, a decorated war hero known for his pragmatism and loyalty. Ilara refused to believe it at first. Voss had stood beside her through countless battles, but the evidence was undeniable. A secret transmission to an unknown recipient, plans to surrender the ardent valor to the Xylar in exchange for safe passage. Confronted, Voss revealed his desperate rationale. "Captain, this war is lost. We cannot save everyone. Sacrificing the ship could buy time for some to live, to rebuild elsewhere. Your stubborn hope blinds you to reality." Ilara's eyes burned with fierce conviction. Hope isn't stubbornness. It's the only thing that keeps us human. Surrender isn't survival, it's extinction. Voss's face twisted with bitterness. "And what of the lives lost because of your defiance? How many more must die before you relent?" The ship trembled as distant enemy fleets closed in, but Ilara's voice never wavered. "We fight for every soul, every star. That's what sets us apart." With the help of loyal officers, Ilara secured Voss and his conspirators, locking them away. The crew rallied around their captain. Those scars of betrayal ran deep. In the ship's quiet moments, Ilara walked the corridors, seeking to heal the wounds. She spoke with each department, reminding them of their shared purpose. The Ardent Valor was not just a ship, it was humanity's last family, bound by hope and courage. At the war room, Dr. Lyon Torres worked feverishly to stabilize the ancient weapons activation protocols, racing against time as the Xylar fleet approached for a decisive strike. Ilara addressed her crew one last time before battle. "We face an enemy that wants to erase us, to silence every heartbeat. But as long as we stand together, with hope and fire, we will not fall. The galaxy is watching. Let them see what humanity means." As the Ardent Valor powered toward its destiny, betrayal was forgiven but not forgotten. It had tested them, forged them stronger. And when the final battle came, the crew stood united, fierce, determined, and unbreakable. The void ahead shimmered with the monstrous silhouette of the Xylar flagship, a dark titan commanding the might of the Armada. The Ardent Valor, battered but unyielding, drifted into formation with the Wraith Allies' fleet. This was the moment, humanity's last stand, the galaxy's first hope. Captain Ilara Miles stood at the helm, every sense razor-sharp, every breath measured. Around her, the crew prepared, each aware that this battle might be their last. Yet in their eyes burned a fierce light, not fear, but determination. "Weapon systems online and stable," Dr. Torres reported, her voice steady despite the tension. "The ancient device is ready." Ilara nodded. "Use it wisely. One chance." As the Xylar flagship unleashed a barrage of energy that tore through space like a star's death throes, the Ardent Valor raised its shields and responded with everything it had. Fighters swarmed, weaving through enemy fire, while the Wraith ships deployed cloak disruptors that severed enemy communications. Then, with a pulse felt across light years, the ancient weapon activated, a ripple tearing through the very fabric of space. The Xylar fleet shuddered as their ship's systems malfunctioned, weapons going dark, engines stalling. Seizing the moment, human and Wraith forces launched a coordinated strike. The flagship shuddered under relentless assault, its defenses cracking. Captain Ilara led the charge in her command fighter, racing through debris and laser fire, a blur of focus and skill. Inside the flagship's core, the Xylar High Commander snarled in disbelief. How can this be? Humans, defiant to the last. Ilara's voice crackled through the comm channel, calm and resolute, because hope is stronger than fear. With one final burst, the flagship's core detonated, a brilliant explosion that sent shockwaves through the Armada. The remaining Tylar vessels scattered, their command shattered, their empire broken. But victory came at a cost. The ardent valor had suffered grievous damage. The ship's corridors were silent but for the hum of dying systems and the steady footsteps of survivors tending to the wounded. Ilara stood on the observation deck, gazing at the stars reborn after the storm. Around her, the galaxy stirred, 1,000 signals flashing, resistance cells rising, new alliances forming. The ardent valor was no longer just humanity's last ship. It was the symbol of a new dawn, a beacon of resilience, courage, and unity. In the quiet aftermath, Ilara sent a message across the galaxy. We were once hunted to the edge of extinction, but today, humanity holds the galaxy's first hope. Together, we will rebuild, and no darkness can ever silence the light of our spirit. As the stars shimmered with promise, the ardent valor set its course for the unknown, carrying not just survivors, but the legacy of a species that refused to fade. Humanity's story was far from over. It had only just begun.